and forgive the silence there. Yes, when I left off and I had briefly discussed how men are often viewed, I briefly discussed a few other things that I think a lot of women should take into consideration. And I think this video or this show, because I will have it available on my website, insidewithnoniayana.com. When I have this available on my website, I want both men and women to take into consideration some of the things that I'm saying, because I could be speaking to you. I could be providing some information that could be very helpful. Now is not a time, when it comes to this topic, when it comes to these types of experiences, this is not the time to feel shame or to feel guilt. This is not the time to allow pride to prevent you from experiencing something positive, something that's going to help you. Now is the time to be introspective and to take some time to do like a self-analysis of who you are, what you are doing, what you are to people, what is your place, what is your role in relationships, and do you think that your relationship with your parent affect who you are as a romantic partner? And I would argue that it does. And what we can do, what I would suggest to a lot of people, what I would suggest is, if you have a dysfunctional, and we all have some, most of us, if anything, most of us we have some level of dysfunction somewhere with our parent-child relationships. I get that, because we are only human. Even me as a parent, I understand I am only human. And there may have been some things that I have done that I hope I have not done anything that would have caused any permanent damage to my child. We all hope that we don't do anything like that. And a lot of times when we do things as parents, we are not always aware of the effect we have on our children. We really aren't. And so what I pose to you all as parents and as children, when it comes as now that even though you are an adult, your relationships with your parents, if it is highly dysfunctional, if it's to the point where it is you are experiencing conflict, when you have a relationship with your parents where you have anxiety, you all do not know how to communicate, there are a lot of things left unsaid, the room is tense when you all are in the room together, those types of situations, when you know you are angry with your parent and you refuse to talk about it, if you are angry with your child and you refuse to confront those issues, those types of things, when you heal those types of dysfunctional relationships, what I'm trying to tell you is that it has a profound effect on your romantic relationships and relationships overall, but specifically your romantic relationships, especially when it comes to father, daughter, mother, son. A lot of that has to do with how your relationship with your mother has a lot to do with how you approach women. It is what it is. Even for the man who is considered to be a player, even for the man who is considered to be a womanizer, he is a womanizer for a reason. To me, there's a reason behind that. And I know this is very, this may be very Freudian, but what I'm saying is there is a reason behind that. And to me personally, I think a lot of it connects back to the parent, because the parent is the first example of what it is, of how to be in a relationship with another gender, right? They are your first examples. And if you grew up in a household where there was a lot of dysfunction, you know how they say children who grew up watching their mothers be abused, and that if he's a boy, that he is most likely to become an abuser himself. That it's along those lines, okay? So all I'm saying is, what I want you to do is just kind of give thought to the current relationships that you have, And I'm not telling you something that I haven't done myself. I have done this myself. I'm not just telling you just to be, talking some psychological babble. I'm not doing that. I am telling you from experience that my relationship with my father had a lot to do with the men I chose. It had a lot to do with how I approached men. It had a lot to do with how I got along with men. My relationship with my father had a lot to do with the expectations I had of men. My relationship with my father had a lot to do with if those men didn't meet my expectations, how I reacted. It had a lot to do with that. And all I'm saying is, look back on the experiences you had with your parents and kind of, you know what I'm saying? Think in depth about it. And if you did not have, as a daughter, if you did not have your father in your life, how did that affect you? What did that mean? And this is when I said, this is not a time for shame or guilt or pride. This is really a time of being honest with yourself. I don't know how many times I have stressed that people, we get so caught up in social media, and we get so caught up in image, and we get so caught up in how we present ourselves to the people that we forget who we are. We forget who we are inside. The real person. We can easily display an image on a Facebook page, whatever social network you're on. That's so easy to do that. And you post specific images to represent who you are and how you want people to perceive you. But at the end of the day, you have to be honest with yourself. And that's where true growth happens. True growth happens when you can be honest with yourself and you be like, yeah, you know what, I messed up. Or yeah, I really am mad at my mother for her doing this and this. And it may be tedious to her, it may be unimportant to her, but my point is to recognize this and understand the value of those experiences, and understand the value of being able to recognize it and be proactive in understanding how it's affecting your decision making, and then change your behavior if need be, because now you got more knowledge, and with that knowledge comes application. Right? So all I'm saying is, look at your relationship with your parents. How was your relationship with your father? Guys, how was your relationship with your mother? How does it affect who you date, how you date? That's all I'm saying. Now, before I left off, I was saying that I wanted to share what my personal definition of a man is. And it goes a little something like this. He acknowledges he is only human. He acknowledges both his strengths and weaknesses. He does not use my femininity to validate his masculinity. He does not consider me to be weak in order to convince himself he is strong. I am not just some woman to him. I am the moon to his sun. I am the moon to his sons and daughters. Our offspring is the manifestation of humanity in its purest, most innate form. He understands this. Therefore, he holds himself accountable. He holds himself responsible for both mistakes and successes. He navigates his life through learning. He is forever the student. He does not ignore wisdom. He respects experience, skill, and knowledge. His self-definition is a personal perspective through intense observation of human response. He understands there are social systems in place designed to influence his behavior, yet he makes the final decision from a systematic thinking of discernment. He will protect me not because he considers me weak, but he understands my vulnerabilities. He protects me because he respects me. He will protect me because he loves me. That is my definition of what I think a man is. And that's why I was saying, notice I didn't say what a real man is, because what does that even mean? Because what a real man to you may not be what a real man to somebody else could be somebody who's angry, who loves to fight, who has a gun, who's done some jail time, who don't take care of his kids, because you know that's what men do. No. A real man to you may be somebody who is, you know, if he cries, if he shows some emotion, he not no real man. What is that? What is he supposed to do with that emotion? We got jails full of brothers that don't know how to control their emotions. That's why a lot of them up in there. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, if you think that all there is to being a man includes being the head of the household, conceiving children, handling the yard work and the plumbing, paying the majority of the household bills, wearing the pants, having the final say in decisions, conquering multiple women, driving muscle cars, being a sports fanatic, picking up heavy things, or anything we typically associate with what men usually do, you are limiting yourself. Okay? You know, when I was writing my notes, something else popped up in my head when we're talking about masculinity. And for those men, you have some men that get angry when they see butches act like men. You all ever realized that? You have some men that get angry when they see butches act like men. And then they follow with the comments like, she ain't no man, or why she acting like a man? Or my favorite question is, if lesbians don't like men, why do they date women that act like men, right? That's a common question. I'm asking you, what do you think a man is? Okay, think about this. What do you think a man is? Is your definition of a man so easily imitated, I can just simply act like one? Think about it. Like, that's all I have to do for you to compare me to your own gender. Think about it. Now, just to answer that question, some lesbians like masculine traits. They like masculine characteristics, but they don't want men. There's a difference. Please keep in mind that masculine traits or characteristics are socially constructed. We as a society decided this is what it means to be masculine. We as a society decided this is what it means to be feminine. However, those traits can be gender fluid because there are men that have traits associated with women, such as being emotional. Okay? So there are some black women out there that don't like to see their man get emotional. So my question is, like I said before, what is he going to do with that emotion? Is he not allowed to express his feelings? This is also why some women are permissive with verbal, physical, or emotional abuse, because she has been trained by society that she is weak and he is stronger, and to expect aggressive behavior because he is a man and this is what men do. What I'm trying to tell you is that this type of men that are abusive in that way, he is a boy. He's a boy. He's most likely mad at his mother because she abandoned him or rejected him, and his way of compensating is abusing you. His way of getting back at his mother is making women pay for her mistake, because when he sees you, he sees his mother. Ladies, how about we just take the gender out of it? Are you dating a child? Are you in a relationship with a child? Are you married to a child? Or are you in a relationship with an adult? There is a difference between being a partner versus being a parent. Okay? And I will say this about women and why we have a lot of women that tend to be in these relationships where they are with boys instead of men. And a lot of it has to do with a lot of us like to feel needed. We when you go to, let me give you an example. When you go to your job, right? You go to your job and they provide you with a job description and say, this is what you're supposed to do with your job, right? And a lot of times when we work, we like to feel as though, the contribution we make is valued. Because, why would you want to be there if you feel like you ain't doing it? It's like, why am I here? If I don't mean anything to the company really, then why should I be here? And it's kind of like the same thing, right? So why be in a relationship where I'm not needed, where if I contribute, it means nothing? Like, you don't really need me. People want to feel needed. We have a lot of women, they get caught up in that maternal role because it feeds that need. It feeds that maternal need. It feels that nurturing need. And what happens is a lot of women get carried away with it, especially single parents. You have a lot of single parents that have become so accustomed to micromanaging everything in their lives. They've become so accustomed to being in control. They have become accustomed to being the only one who makes everything happen. So when a man comes into the picture, and especially if he ain't doing everything like she used to doing it, it's going to be a problem. There's going to be some conflict there because she's not used to that. She's not used to somebody coming in and taking over certain responsibilities. She don't know how to share responsibilities because she's never been in a position where she had to or where she could, because she was used to doing everything herself, right? So what happens is she's so accustomed to that position that she can end up making him one of the kids, basically, right? So he's just another child is what happens. And that could easily happen if you don't have the right brother as well. But with the single parent, she's been alone for a long time. She wants that father figure in the house. She wants that father figure for the children. And sometimes we compromise important things just so we can have a male presence in the house. And so he's fulfilling that need of that male presence, even if he's not really doing crap to help her. Literally because he's there, because there's a man present there. He's fulfilling that need. He may not have any real duty, but that's how it is in a lot of relationships, especially with single parents. And all I'm saying is I understand, and I'm not giving you this from theory. I'm giving you this information from personal experience as well, and people that I know. It just is what it is. And I think sometimes, especially as a single parent and those strong, independent women, we can get so caught up in ourselves that we don't know how to share of ourselves. We don't like vulnerability. A lot of strong Black women don't like vulnerability because we have associated vulnerability to weakness. And what we don't want to do is show a brother that we weak. Why? Because it goes back to the very thing I said earlier in the show when I was saying how we see men. We see men as dogs. We see men as incapable of disciplining themselves. We see men as womanizers because this is what we're taught when we're young girls. Girl, all he wants is to have sex with you. That type of thinking at an early age, when you tell your daughters that, she's going to carry that with her. And then when she sees her daddy, she might think that same thing, that he just wants, that's all men want are women. That is not the case. Men, to be honest with you, can be just as complex as women. They really can. They can be just as complex as women. But society has taught us that men are so simple. No, y'all not. Y'all are not simple at all. There are some men out there who have specific needs and wants because of the experiences they have had. And you have to know what those experiences are about in order to approach it in the right way. That makes it more complex within itself. Every man ain't just thinking about pussy. Every man ain't just thinking about money. A lot of these brothers are thinking about different things that have affected them throughout their lives, and they have no idea what to do with those thoughts and emotions because they've been told you're not supposed to release that. You're supposed to be able to control that and move on with your life, and that is unrealistic, is all I'm saying. So whether dating, currently in a relationship, or marriage, here is what you should do to either separate the boy from the man or separate yourself from the relationship, okay? So here are my key things. Boundaries. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. And I'm not necessarily talking about you saying what you not gonna do. All that neck rolling and what you ain't gonna do. That right there, that's his mama talking. Don't do that. Don't do that. I mean, set a realistic standard for both yourself and your partners. Okay? Or partner. Make decisions together. People like to feel included. Teamwork helps build self-esteem, especially when a person knows their contribution was a part of success. And it also gives them an opportunity to grow if their contribution was a part of an unsuccessful result. If it didn't go well, what can I learn from this? What can I do differently? What can we do differently? What can my part be versus your part? That sort of thinking. No micromanagement. Allow your partner to experience the circumstances that follow, good and bad. Being in control of everything may be empowering for you, but it is emasculating to him. If you're doing everything, why should he do anything? Effective communication, using I statements and feeling words, no expressions that place blame or shows no accountability. Support. Many of our men, and especially many of our black men, lack support systems. And I'm not saying you gotta kiss his ass. I'm not talking about enablement. I'm talking about positive encouragement. Okay? Helping in a way that doesn't compromise who you are or take away from who you are. That made me think of, I was watching a Lifetime movie. And a common theme in Lifetime movies, I'm really not a big Lifetime movie because they always got some scandalous craziness, stalker-ish, he's having an affair with the babysitter type stuff on there. But there was this one line that this lady said that I hear often in like Lifetime movies and other movies. When she says, how dare you? How could you? I gave everything to you. I gave you this. I bought this house so you could work on your music, blah, 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 right? So my thing is this. I personally don't feel you should give 100. You should not give all of yourself to nobody. That's not even realistic. My daughter does not get 100% of me. She gets what I can give at that time. I'm not giving all of myself to nobody, because if I give all of myself to anybody, then what do I have left for me? I gotta be a little bit selfish in that. I'm sorry. I gotta be a little bit selfish. You cannot give your all to everybody. So and that's why that's why I say do things together, make decisions together. Because I shouldn't be the only one sacrificing. I shouldn't be the only one losing out if it don't work out. This is a team. If I lose, you lose. That's how that works, okay? But support. We need our black men. They need more support. And when I say more support, this also means that we don't support the stereotypes that are out there about our black men. We don't keep reinforcing it. Okay? We have many beautiful, strong, intelligent, they work hard. We have many good black men out there. They do not deserve to be stereotyped the way they are, especially by black women, because we all they got. Society has beat them up enough. We need to support them. Okay? My last one is knowing when to let go. You got some people that you got some brothers that just refuse to grow up. And you must realize that being with him is doing you more harm than good. Okay? So when it gets to that point, why are you holding on if it's causing you more harm than good? If it's not, what I tell ladies is when you decide to date a man, right? When you decide to date anyone, when you include someone in your life, they should be making your life better. They should not be making your life worse. If they are making your life worse, then you need to reevaluate why you are together. Are you really together because you really love this person? Are you really together because it's genuine? Or are you really with this person because they are feeding a need that you need at that time? Because you don't want to be alone and you don't want to go back out on the dating scene. I've heard that from married people. I don't want to leave my husband because I don't want to go back to dating. Is that a real reason to stay with somebody? Is that fair to that person if you really don't want to be with them? Someone says the hard part is asking someone to support a man who she has never received support herself. Yeah. And that's the problem. So what happens is we perpetuate this negative cycle. And that's what I mean by self-honesty. We have to be honest with ourselves about what we want and what we're looking for. We need to be honest about, we need to do more self-analysis is what I'm saying. We really need to look at ourselves more often. And I had to do that. I had to like literally kind of like sit myself down and be like, what am I trying to do with my life? Who am I trying to be? And who am I trying to be this person for? Those are the questions you need to ask yourself. Because when you get into a relationship, it's all going to come out. Everything that you want and everything that you need and everything that you don't like, even about yourself, it's all going to come out in the relationship because that person is going to test you. Being with people, it's like an ongoing test of who you are. And a lot of people don't like to be tested. We don't like to feel discomfort. We only want to feel pleasure. And that's why I put that quote up on my page, that with growth comes change and challenge, because that's what it is. When you experience growth, there will be some discomfort, but it's going to be discomfort that's progressive. It's going to be something you're doing that you're like, ooh, I don't know. But it's something that's going to help you, not hurt you. You don't need to be in a relationship with anyone that is hurting you, where you find yourself wishing you had better. You find yourself hoping they're going to change, because what happens is they typically don't. That person that you decided to date, that person you decided to marry, that person you decided to have that child with, that's who they are. We have to come to a level of acceptance. We cannot change the people that we are with, but we can definitely change ourselves. You can decide who you can decide. You have the choice of being with whoever you want to be with. That is up to you. Nobody can make you do that. If you stay within an unhealthy marriage, for the kids, as some people say, I stayed for the kids, that sort of thing, that sort of thinking. You're not thinking of yourself, and it might seem selfish, and you can consider it selfish, but as far as I'm concerned, your sanity is much more valuable. Why would you stay in a dysfunctional relationship? What do you think your kids think when they see you unhappy? What do you think your kids see when they see you all are not the parents that you used to be? Come on now. I think we underestimate the mind of a child. They see what's going on. They understand negative energy. They understand unhappiness. They can see it. You can front all you want. And even if you're not married, and even if you don't have kids, you need to ask yourself, why am I with this person? What am I expecting out of my life? What are the goals that I have? We don't have enough planning. We don't have enough people who plan in their relationships. And I just saw, what is his name? Jerem, I believe that's his name. I follow him on Facebook, and he had a post up saying, he says, plan your wedding, plan your marriage, fuck your wedding. That's what he put on there. And I'm like, amen, hand clap for that. Because we don't have enough people planning their relationship about what they want and have goals for their relationship. We go in assuming that we know what we want, or we know what our partners want, and that may not always be true. So you need to plan. This is who I want to be. This is where I want to be in my life. This is where I want to be financially. So my thing is your mate, is he, because I was talking to primarily women tonight, is he going to fit within your plan? If he does not fit within your plan, if his lifestyle, if his the decisions that he tends to make, or is he a work in progress? In other words, do you clearly see him attempting to better himself? See, that's different. When you see a brother being proactive, when he has actually analyzed himself and said, you know what, I really need to improve in this area. I need to grow in this area. Can you help me? Will you help me grow in this area? That's the brother that you need, okay? But the brother who is refusing to grow in himself, then you need to ask yourself, why am I with you? Because you don't match my goals. You don't match my life goals. You don't match what I want to be further down the road. My long-term plans, you don't match that. And that's when you have to make that decision, whether you're going to stay or whether you're going to go. And for those who are in relationships where you can easily leave, what I'm saying is go ahead and go. It's not going to hurt you. It's only going to help you. It's going to help you grow, and it's going to help you be better, and it's going to help you be a better person. And it's going to give him an opportunity to grow and be a better person, because that's what we want in the end. So I hope I've given you something to think about, because my time is running out. I only got like 30 seconds left. Thank you, Facebook, for joining me. I really appreciate you all listening in on the show. I'm on orangeroomradio.com. I will have these videos up on my Facebook page if you want to share this page with any of your people or with someone you think should hear this, okay? So I will do that for you. But thank you. Go to my website, insidewithnoniayana.com, and I am offering online private counseling. You can go to noniayana.com for that information. And this summer, I look forward to working with more people and bringing you more shows. So I'll see you later, Facebook.